Parsha begins, veyeshev Yaakov beretz megurei aviv beretz Canaan. So Rashi immediately points out on the word veyeshev, bikesh Yaakov leishev b'shalva. Veyeshev means, he didn't say vayogor or vayichye. There are other words that could have been used, vayichon. There are other words that could have been used to indicate that he is dwelling in the land of Canaan. But they use the word vayeshev, so Rashi, it's almost a play on words. Bikesh Yaakov leishev b'shalva. Yaakov wanted to dwell without too much aggravation anymore, in peace, after what happened to him. And Yaakov had achieved his goal. Beretz megurei aviv, Beretz Canaan. He had come back home. So he thought that that's the end of the parsha. That his test had been the house of Lavan. His test had been Esav. And now that those were in his past, and that he was no longer subject to them, then he had the test with Dinah. So that's it. So then what else is left? So it says, Kofzo olav rogzo shel Yosef. Kofzo means it jumped on him. Completely unexpected. Now, why is it completely unexpected? When Yosef himself is already indicating that there's going to be trouble. It says, Vayove Yosef es dibosom ro'el aviem. Yosef comes and he tells Yaakov stories about his brothers. And the stories are not complimentary. They eat Eva min achai, they're mavaz, the bnei hashvachos, all, So Yaakov should add an indication that something is up. But that's why the Loshen is kofz olav. It jumped on him because he's not prepared to deal with anything else anymore. By him, it was all over already. And that's why Rashi says that heaven said to him, Lo dayo, it's not enough that tzaddikim get olam haba, they want to sit in olam haba too, and not be bothered. That Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't agree to. So Yaakov is in this entire story, the next four parshas that we have, vayeshev, miketz, vayigash, and part of Vayichi too. Yaakov is the tragic figure. He's the main victim of all of this because of the fact that he thought that he had established a permanent family. He had 12 sons, as he was promised. He came back there to Israel. He thought that he had fulfilled his mission. And now it appears that this is that's not the mission. The mission is Rogzo shel Yosef. So the Meforshim explained that that's part of the reason we see that Yaakov is very passive in this struggle between Yosef and the brothers. He's ambivalent. On one hand, Yaakov criticizes Yosef. What kind of dreams are these? What are you talking about? Avo, navo, ani v'imcha, ishtachavos l'cha arza. You think we're going to bow to you? And then the pasuk ends, v'yoviv shomar es hadover. But by Yaakov, he guarded it. So the Meforshim there, Rashi quotes, Aviv Shomar Sadova, and wanted to know when it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So, if it's going to happen, then why didn't he tell his sons, listen, Yosef is special. And he told them that Yosef is, that's Vayaslo Ksonas Pasim. He gave him the special garment. So he's indicating that Yosef is special. So the Meforshim say he could have taken, so to speak, a harder line with the brothers. He could have said to him, he's young, he talks, etc., but he's the one. But he didn't do that. So the Meforshim say that is part of Bikesh Yaakov Leshe B'Shalva. He didn't want to get too involved. He didn't want to get into the controversy. He wanted it, he thought that things would settle by themselves. And that somehow it would not involve him, and he would not have to make any hard decisions between the brothers. He wouldn't have to make choices. He wouldn't have to guide them. It will settle itself. And that didn't happen. And therefore, he's subjected to this 20 years of pain that he himself, the years of Yosef, everything that goes on, because of, so to speak, the Meforshim say, because of his own ambivalence, his own passivity. And that's what the Medrash means when it says, Lodayo, it's not enough. In this world, we are not here to be passive. We are not here to just let things drift along. That's not a policy for the Jewish people. It's not a policy for an individual. So people always have to be proactive. People always have to take steps for their benefit, for the benefit of others, for the benefit of their family, etc. But to sit back and do nothing, that is what Chazal criticized here. That's what they said, Lodayo, it's not enough. He's going to have Olam Haba, he'll have eternity not to do anything. Here, you're here to do something. And Chazal also point out that tzaddikim, the Rabbanu Shalom is medagdek imohem kechut asar. The Rabbanu Shalom is very exact in dealing with them. When you deal with superior people, so then, so to speak, superior people don't make little mistakes. Little people make little mistakes. So we can overlook it. But when you're dealing with tzaddikim, so then the smallest error can engender great problems. It has great effects. So even though to us we understand Yaakov completely, veyeshev Yaakov beretz Megurei beretz Canaan, the Yaakov, he's entitled, right? After such a life, he's entitled to sit. Right? Clip coupons, whatever. Doesn't have to be active. But that's not how the Rabbanu Shalom sees our lives, and that's not how he sees our mission and what we're involved. So that to the end, people have to have goals, they have to impart them to others, You cannot just be passive and sit back. And that's especially true in family matters. So even though no one likes to interfere in family, but nevertheless, Yaakov Avinu is the patriarch. He is the head of the family. So there's a responsibility that goes with it. I always feel that that's true with the grandparents and great-grandparents, that even though they're not raising the children, they don't have to get up at night and give them the bottle, but they have a responsibility. And the responsibility is to somehow impart the traditions and the outlook and the worldview of what is involved. And just to sit back, people say, when I was a Rav in America, many people say, well, I don't want to give my child, I don't want to influence him. When he'll grow up, he'll decide what he wants to be, what he wants to do. Well, that's a recipe for disaster. Because if you didn't give him the foundation and the basis and the education, how can he decide? How can anyone know what's going to be? So the brothers resent Yosef. Yaakov is aware that they resent Yosef. Yaakov is, in fact, a contributor to the fact that they can resent Yosef because of the Ksonas Pasim he gave. So then, how does he withdraw from the matter completely? How does he not see and realize what's going to happen here and take measures to try and prevent it? Now, we can always say, as many people do, well, this is all the hashgacha. It had to go this way. We have to go down to Mitzrayim this way, etc., etc. But the Meforshim point out that how he went down to Mitzrayim, there are many different ways to go down to Mitzrayim. And that the hashgacha does not necessarily prescribe the one way. People choose. Once they choose, so then that's the way it happens. But there could have been many other ways. It didn't have to be with the whole rift in the family and with the fact that the machlokas of Yosef and his brothers extended later to Malchus Ephraim and Malchus Yehuda, and to a certain extent is at the root of many disagreements that exist in our time. Is that it's very hard to get along if you have all those different ideas and different goals, and somehow you're thrust together in a common lot, in a common circumstance. So all of that has to be viewed here, and the Meforshim viewed it because the lashon of the Torah was veyeshev. If it would have used a different verb, so then we wouldn't have to become involved in it. But veyeshev is a passive, hands-off, not be bothered, not take a role type of verb. And that ends up that you make room for all sorts of things to happen, as we will see as the parsha unfolds, and as the further parshas unfold, the whole drama comes into being. But the origin is because of veyeshev Yaakov. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashi Omer Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakas Yisrael Leficha Chirba Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shenemar Adonai Chafetz Leman Tzidko Yagdil Torah V'Yadil.